All right, today we're tackling a question that so many people are wrestling with, a really tough paradox at the heart of modern Nigeria. This quote from a Nigerian analyst, it just hits you, right? It perfectly frames what we're about to get into. This idea that maybe, just maybe, pure effort isn't enough when the game itself is rigged.
And that's the big question we're trying to answer. How can a country known for its nonstop hustle still have so many people struggling to get by? Let's, really break it down. Okay, so first things first, we have to talk about something anybody who knows Nigeria understands deeply, and that's the culture of hard work. It's what leads us to this hustle paradox.
I mean, you see it everywhere. You've got the bus conductor who's out on the streets at 5 a.m. and doesn't get home until 10 p.m., or you hear stories about a project engineer who's still on a work site at 11 o'clock at night, still picking up calls. This isn't just about having a job. It's a whole grind mentality, a constant, relentless hustle.
And this quote from a Reddit forum, wow, it just captures the feeling perfectly. It basically means we are trying so hard. We are always putting in the work, but there's absolutely nothing to show for it. You can just feel the frustration in those words, right? All that effort. For what? Because here's where that incredible hustle just slams into a brick wall of reality. Even with all that hard work, World Bank data from 2020 showed that a staggering 44% of Nigerians live below the national poverty line, almost half the country. Clearly, the hustle isn't paying off. So, why? Well, a massive piece of the puzzle, and you really can't tell this story without it, is the country's long and very deep history with corruption. Just try to wrap your head around this number for a second. Over $400 billion. That's the estimated amount of money that's been lost to corruption since Nigeria's independence. Think of what that money could have built. The schools, the hospitals, the power grids, the very foundation for opportunity. And look, this is not some new problem. This has been a consistent pattern for decades, from military regimes that basically legalized corruption to the democratic era that's had its own huge scandals. It's just been one thing after another, no matter who's in charge.
And it's not just happening at the very top. A study back in 2003 asked citizens which institutions they saw as the most corrupt. And who was at number one? The police, followed by political parties and government itself. When you can't trust the very people meant to protect you and run the country, the whole system starts to crumble. And this isn't just an internal feeling. The rest of the world sees it too. On the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index, Nigeria scored a 26 out of 100. For context, 0 means highly corrupt. That score is way below the global average and even below the average for sub-Saharan Africa. It's a systemic problem, plain and simple. So, okay, we've talked about these huge historical problems, but how does all that actually trickle down and affect an average young person just trying to build a life? Well, that's where you get trapped in the system. For generations, the promise was simple, right? Go to school, get your degree, work hard, and you'll make it. But for so many young Nigerians today, the reality is completely different. You have university graduates who are forced to ride motorcycle taxis, Okada, or sell things on the street just to get by. Their ambition has nowhere to go. And check out this story. It says everything. A graduate with a first-class degree, that's the best you can get, from a top university, sits at home for a whole year without a job. The reason they were given? He didn't know anybody. It's a perfect example of a system where who you know, not what you know, is what really counts. So it all just piles up, you see. Good jobs are hard to find and are often given to the well-connected. If you want to start your own business, you're fighting against things like a terrible power supply. Then you throw in widespread insecurity and an education that doesn't feel like a guarantee anymore. It's not that the youth are lazy, they're stuck. So when you're trapped in a system like that, a system that just won't let you win, what do? What's the logical next step for so many people? Well, that next step has a name, the Japasa syndrome. Japasa is a Yoruba word that literally means to flee or escape, and now it's the go-to term for the massive wave of talented Nigerians leaving the country to find a better life somewhere else. It's a movement born from pure frustration. And the reasons why people are leaving? Well, it's everything we've been talking about. The economy is tough, it feels unsafe, and there's just no room to grow in your career. But there's a deeper reason too. People are just desperate for a system that works. They want to live in a place where the lights stay on and things make sense. And the cost of all this for the country itself? It's absolutely devastating. It's a massive brain drain.
Every time a skilled doctor or a talented engineer or a brilliant tech founder leaves, it weakens the very foundations Nigeria needs to build its future. It's the ultimate price the country is paying. So for all the people who stay, is there another way? Can you still make it? Well, this leads to a really critical shift in thinking, from just working harder to working smarter. A lot of analysts are saying the old playbook is out. Just trading your time for a paycheck isn't enough anymore. The new strategy is about 1, moving from pure labor to leverage, gaining more skills. 2, it's about owning assets, things that make money for you, like investments or property. And 3, it's about upgrading your skills in things like sales and finance so you can create real value. And that really is the heart of it. This is the new rule of the game. In today's Nigeria, hard work will keep you afloat. It'll help you survive. But it's strategy, thinking 2 steps ahead, owning things, leveraging your skills, that's what actually builds wealth. Which leaves us with one last big question. What happens to a country when its most driven, most hardworking people feel like the only way to truly succeed is to pack their bags and leave? It's a huge dilemma, and it's something to really think about.